Hey everybody, it's Live with Diane on Wednesday in the course group, and I am here. First of all, can I just say my phone is being so weird. I do these lives on my phone and it would not turn the normal way that I do it, so I have to do it up and down. I feel kind of funny doing it this way, but when your phone doesn't cooperate, then that's what you do. And I'm sure you guys did not want to watch me sideways, right? Yeah, okay. So today our topic is all about the food, and specifically I've some of the questions I've had in the past, not recently, but the questions I've had are, I would love to have like a 4-week recipe list of exactly what I should be eating for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Give me your recipes, tell me what to eat, and I know that I can do really well and I'll lose weight on this program. And we're going to discuss that, why I don't give you a 4-week recipe list, and why I don't tell you specifically what to eat, why I don't tell you how much protein you need at each meal, why I don't tell you why we should have carbohydrates, why we should cut out carbohydrates, all of that. That's what we're going to talk about today. So I see several of you have jumped on. Yes, hi, Carla's here. There says 4 of you are on. So if you are watching down below, I want you to comment and say, I'm here, Diane, I'm watching, because I love to know that somebody's watching. It's always good to know you're not talking to yourself, right? Okay, because you and I both know, I don't know, talking to yourself isn't as fun. It's great when somebody's listening. So I see Carla's here. Who else? Who else is here with us? Anybody? Oh, Jody's here. Hey, Jody. Awesome. Who else is joining us? Let's see. I have a few people it says that are on here. Ta-da. So I know some of you are brand new to the program, like this is your very, very first week. Some of you have been on it for a while, but what I'm going to talk about today works for everybody. I see Michelle's here too. Hi, Michelle. So this will work for everybody, regardless of where you are on your journey, okay? So those of you who are brand new, you're actually going to learn next week a little bit more about, it's in lesson 2, about the food and what we eat in the program. Although, you can look in your workbook at any time. So what we're doing today is I want you, if you have your workbook close, great. If not, go grab it. We're on page 7. So we're gonna take a look at this quick start guide food list and talk a little bit about why we have this food list, where it came from, and why we don't have a 4-week recipe list of exactly what to eat, okay? So first off, I wanna know, for those of you who are watching, how many of you have been on diets before? Is that like a dumb question? Okay, how many of you have been on like several diets before, right? So just tell me in the comments below, yes, I've been on lots of diets before, yes. You guys, for me, I was making a list one day of all the diets I'd been on. I stopped at 40. Yeah, and I'm sure there's so much more out there. As a matter of fact, if you were to list a diet down below, I could easily say I've tried it. I really can't think of one I hadn't done before. I've done the cookie diet. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, the cookie diet. I did the Richard Simmons diet. Michelle says she's been on lots of diets. Jody says she's been on like 10. 40. Yes, Laura, 40. Sonoma. Sounds familiar. What do you do on that one, Jody? Because maybe that's one I put in the back of my mind that I did not know. Grapefruit diet. You guys, I did all the crazy ones. Cabbage soup, yep, totally done that. Cambridge diet, I joined Jenny Craig. I was in Weight Watchers 3 different times. Lectin-free diet, okay. Is that a specific diet where you take out foods that have lectin in them? Because I don't think I've done that. Is that one to lose weight or is that one to just be healthy? I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me a little bit more about that one, Laura. And Jody, I actually kind of liked the cabbage soup diet. That was pretty healthy. I felt good. I loved the cabbage soup. It was kind of restrictive though, but that cabbage soup I still eat actually sometimes. Sonoma's, Mediterranean. Okay, yep, Mediterranean diet. I've actually done that without the wine. I still have, you guys, I went through all my cookbooks downstairs. Just the other day I was cleaning out. I have the Mediterranean cookbook. So yes, Mediterranean diet. Can't even count that high. Oh my gosh. Seriously, because I started my first diet when I was 13 years old. And that was just with the little calorie counter book. And I decided I was going to eat a certain amount of calories, and I was losing a lot of weight, so I then decreased them all the way down to about 800 calories. I lost a lot of weight. I was looking really good, but I gained it all back really fast. Yeah. So let's go and answer this question. Why do I not give you a 4-week recipe? Like, here's what you're going to eat this day. Next day, you're going to get this. And the next day, you're going to eat this. Because I could have easily done that. There's a lot of recipes that I ate during my weight loss phase that could probably help you a lot and get you along your journey. Here's the deal. This is not a weight loss program. Even though you do lose weight, it's also not a diet program. It's an emotional eating program. And the number one thing we're working on is our brain. The food will come, but you've got to learn how to work on your brain first. And when you learn how to work on your brain first, guess what? The food naturally comes in. And here's also the other thing that I think is the most important thing here. My body is different than your body. And the way that my skin and the way that my hair, the way that my cells function and grow is different than yours. So you may need things that are going to be very different than me, that react to you. Here's also what I know. I like donuts. I like tacos. You may not like those at all. So if I were to tell you in this 4-week recipe protocol of what you should eat every single day, and I included, that your special treat would be a donut, or I had tacos in there all the time, you probably wouldn't like that very much, but I would love it. I want this program to be something you set up. And that is what's going to give you the long-term results because you set it up, you enjoy it, you like it. And if it's something you don't like, it's your own fault because you chose the food. So when we set out this protocol that we make, yes, tacos, I know, Laura, we have this love for tacos together. When you set up your own protocol, it has to be something that you enjoy and you like. I have a friend who is a hunter. Her husband is a hunter, and they bring home their own meat. And so they'll have venison. That sounds terrible to me, but they love venison. So they're going to include that in their protocol. I would never include that in my protocol, ever. There are some people who absolutely love, my mother loved liver and onions. No, I would never put that in my protocol. But liver is very healthy for you. So honestly, you can add in whatever you want. There are some people who do intermittent fasting, but they'll eat breakfast and lunch and then skip dinner. I can't do that. But if that works for you, that means that you get to choose that because it's your life and you know what works best for you. So there is no way that I could set up a recipe list and tell you what to eat every single day because it would fit me, but it's not going to fit you. So the first thing we need to work on is our brain around food. And when we get that down, then guess what? Your food list is going to look totally different. So let me share you on here. So on page 7, this is a quick start food list. And let me tell you why I even put this in here, because I debated whether I should even put this in here. The only reason this is in here is because these are foods that help your brain. When you eat these types of foods, the foods on the top that says foods to eat freely of, they're foods that are not addictive. In other words, your brain does not get a dopamine effect to eating those foods. That's why I made this list. And I put it in a way that you could start slowly. Like if you add these and if the foods that on the bottom that says to cut out completely, and I realize this is probably backwards, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So if you have it in front of you, cut out completely, those are all the foods that your brain reacts to. Your brain reacts to those emotionally, and those are the ones that we're drawn to eat whenever we're not doing emotionally well. Whenever our brain is deciding that it wants to go to the emotion side instead of your smart brain, your emotion brain, those are the foods it wants. So let me just name them off. All sugar drinks, juice, coffee with creamer. Because of the caffeine that's high in there, we're not like saying caffeine's bad, but if you have an addiction to caffeine, including the creamer and the sugar that goes in there, alcohol, these are things that affect your brain. White flour products, including bread and pasta, those react in your brain very similar to sugar. All processed foods, chips, crackers, pretzels, cereal. You guys, when you have processed foods, what they're adding to them typically isn't going to be anything that's healthy, because if it's going to be staying on your pantry for a long time, that means it's not doing anything good in your body. All candy, sweets, granola bars, ice cream, foods eaten between meals. In other words, foods that are in between meals are usually eaten because you are craving something, not necessarily because you're hungry. If you ate a good size amount of calories and good proteins and whatever in your meal, you really shouldn't be hungry in between unless you didn't eat enough. So that's what we're doing in our list, is we're training your brain to eat when it's hungry, not because you emotionally want to feel better. Here's how I recommend you make your food list. And of course, we talk a little bit about this in the course. I would first start, and I didn't say this in the course, in your journal, I would first start by saying, what are foods that I really, really like that I know I can't live without? Foods that I know that if they were put in front of me, I couldn't say no to them. That's where I would start. So Jody says, I also do mindless or unconscious eating. Yep. Laura says, frosty beverages are my downfall. Okay, so let's go with that, you guys. So Laura mentioned frosty beverages. If I were to first set up my protocol right now, I would first write down frosty beverages. I know that I need those. I know that I'm not gonna be able to turn those down. So you're going to include those somehow in your protocol. Now, I do need to say this. You have got to cut out the sugar and the white flour for at least 3 to 4 weeks so that your brain and your body are not used to that dopamine effect. You've got to get it out of your system. Popcorn, Jody, yes, with tons of butter on it. That sounds so yummy right now. You have to get the sugar and the white flour out of your system for a time being. And you will know what that feels like in your body. For me, I tried 3 weeks and I still had that feeling I really wanted to eat it. It took 4 weeks for me to feel like I didn't need it anymore. After you've taken that out of your protocol for at least 4 weeks, you then are going to add it back in. And I always do 2 times a week. You get to decide what that's going to look like. But that's when you would say, I'm going to add in a Frosty on whatever day it is. Here's what I've also learned, you guys. If I add in something like a Frosty that I know has sugar in it, it's not necessarily healthy for you. If I include some protein with it, it keeps me full and it's just not giving me empty carbs. So I love Rice Krispie treats. So when I choose to eat a Rice Krispie treat, by the way, I make the homemade kind. That's the only way to do it. I will then add in a protein drink with it. And I just get the doTERRA protein. Absolutely love it. Vanilla is just my favorite. I think it just tastes so good. I will drink that with something that's sweet. And then I feel like I'm getting some nutrition along with something that's sweet. And I am 100% completely satisfied. And I don't feel like I want more sugar. I think that's the secret to eating your snack. So I like donuts. And on Fridays is when I will either eat a donut or I will get buttered popcorn, maybe with a little snack on the side. I will always have some protein with it. Sometimes that protein will be beef jerky. I like to get the low sodium beef jerky. And when I include that with it, I know that I'm not going to be aimlessly wanting to eat more stuff afterwards that are sugary and are going to give me that dopamine effect to my brain because I've given myself nutrition as well. Does that make sense? So when you first sit down and you're making your protocol, include the foods that you know you absolutely have to have. Here's what happens for me. When I put those foods in my protocol, you guys, I've been doing this now for, 2.5, 3 years. It's not that important anymore. That food that I thought I absolutely had to have and couldn't live without. Like, for instance, last Friday, I typically have that as the day that I'm going to eat something that's not necessarily my protocol. I chose a donut. And so I actually wrote that down on my little paper. And when it came time to eat the donut, I was like, I've had enough donuts. I think I want to eat something else. And that was funny because I wrote it on my protocol, which you're supposed to follow your protocol, right? And I'm like, that is hilarious that I wrote a donut on my protocol and now I don't even want it. Like, that's the point where you know I'm not emotionally eating anymore because I chose to put that on there and now I don't want it. Oh my gosh, like something just happened in my brain where this totally works. You guys see how that works? Do you guys see how that can be a way that, oh my gosh, I chose to put something on there that I normally love and I think is awesome and amazing that I normally crave, but because you chose it, nobody was telling you not to eat it. You didn't say, oh, I shouldn't eat that. You put yourself on there saying, I'm going to have it today, and then you chose not to. I didn't even eat the donut because I had to physically go to the store and get it, and I really didn't want to go get it, and so I didn't eat the donut. It wasn't that I replaced it with something else. I just didn't eat the donut. I didn't even feel like it. That's when you know your brain has seriously found a place where you're comfortable in your body and your own skin. And you know what's funny is that recently, so I don't know how many of you know this, during COVID, I gained about 15 pounds during those first few months. I was just totally emotionally eating. I was like, I'm sick of being home. I don't like homeschooling my kids. This is not fun. And I gained 15 pounds. And little by little, as I've gotten back into doing what I know how to do, I have now lost, it's 12 pounds where I'm at. And honestly, I'm totally fine with where I'm at. And if it takes me another year to lose 10 more pounds, I'm so fine with that. I am not in any way trying to force myself to lose weight. It will come, and when it does, it's going to be awesome. But I absolutely love where I'm at right now. I love the food protocols that I set up every single day. I love that I don't feel like I'm on any diet in any way, shape, or form. And I love that if I feel like I want to eat something, I put it on my protocol and I go eat it. And it's not a big deal. I never feel deprived either, ever. So since we're talking about food, so my husband the other day made, what did he make? Oh, spaghetti. Wasn't on my protocol at all. And he's like, do you miss eating spaghetti? And I was like, I don't miss eating spaghetti. Like that wasn't, not once did I ever feel deprived. And you know why? It's because on the things that I really want to eat, I'm eating them. So I'm not feeling deprived at all. I'm choosing what I'm going to eat. There is no diet program that says you can't have this, take that out, cut this out. I'm deciding what I'm going to eat and what's in or out of it. And if it was something that I thought I really wanted to have, I just add it the next day to my protocol. You guys, that is where the food freedom comes from. You feel like I'm completely 100% in charge of what I'm going to eat. And my brain is right along with me as well. So that is why this quick start food list is in here, because it is what helps you not have the addiction to the food. In other words, that dopamine effect, so that you can truly work on your brain and not the addiction to the food. Does that make sense to everybody? How we're first getting rid of the addiction so that we can truly work on our emotional side, not the physical draw to food, because there is a difference. Laura says, I can't wait to get there. Yes, it is so fun. It is so fun to be here. Now, with that being said, I do need to tell you that I still have moments of, okay, this is kind of hard. Like, well, I will go somewhere where I will be in a place, for instance, a family reunion. To me, I don't know why, but our family reunions, like everybody is just like brings all the junk, all the snack. We want to play games all day and eat junk all day. That was like a huge part of my life growing up. We love to play games and eat junk and drink soda while we play the games. I don't know why, but that's just what we do. I get back in those situations, and that is when I totally feel like, I really want to just eat that junk all day. And I know I'm going to have a headache. I know I'm not going to feel good. And sometimes I have given in, and then the next day I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Can't beat yourself up, and it's all right. Then that's how it goes. Parties. Yes, parties. Any party I go to is always going to be difficult. And you guys, this is where you have to work on your brain. You seriously just need to say, all right, I'm going to this party. I already know it's going to be hard. I already know that I'm going to be uncomfortable around the food. And this is what I tell myself. I'm going to be uncomfortable and be okay with being uncomfortable. I'm not going to tell myself, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. No. It's not going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you are okay being uncomfortable. So I want to go back to something I refer to all the time. And that is that hot tub. You guys remember the analogy of the hot tub that I've talked about before? Imagine you're sitting in that hot tub and you love it. It's so comfortable. And then the water in the hot tub turns cold and you want to get out. You're like, this is not fun. This is uncomfortable. But you stay there because you know that being uncomfortable is going to help you grow. It's going to help you learn. And that's exactly what it's like to go into an uncomfortable situation where there's food all around you that you know wasn't a part of your protocol, that you know you could probably indulge and eat all day long and feel terrible. And you are capable of being in that situation, not beating yourself up, not saying, no, I can't have that, and being so miserable to be around, because you guys know what it's like. Instead of just being miserable, just say, this is going to be uncomfortable for me, and I can do uncomfortable things and be totally fine. That's the attitude we need to have, because I've gone into situations where before I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on a diet. I cannot eat all this food. I would either leave or I would sit there miserable and make everybody else miserable around me, or I just ate the food and then beat myself up later. We have an option, you guys. The option is to just be uncomfortable and be okay with being uncomfortable. Isn't that awesome? And that's just because it's a part of life. Life is not going to be easy. There's going to be times in life that are uncomfortable, and we just have to learn to say, okay, this was the part that was going to be uncomfortable. It was always supposed to be this way, and I'm okay being uncomfortable. And guess what? That uncomfortableness is over. The party ends, the family reunion goes on, and you go on with your life, and everything is okay. Nobody died. Nothing happened. Nothing significant happened. You just were uncomfortable. You guys, isn't that like the best feeling in the world? To feel like, oh my gosh, I was uncomfortable and I was fine with being uncomfortable. That's what the whole program is about. That's what food freedom is about. Being around food, feeling uncomfortable, and still moving on and being okay with you and your life and yourself. And that is why I do not make a food list with recipes for 4 weeks. This is about you and your brain. So Christine says a whole new way to look at it. Yes, it's a whole new way to look at it. There is no more beating yourself up about food. It does not have to be a hard thing. When something is put in front of you that you know is going to be uncomfortable, you just be uncomfortable and be okay with that. And your body is completely different than mine. Don't you guys all absolutely love that I'm not telling you what to eat? That nobody's telling you what to eat? How long have we been on diets where we had to go look up, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to eat today? What can I not have? What's going to be so hard? I have to eat another salad, more chicken. No, I mean, if you choose to put that in because you like it, awesome. Do you guys know I don't even eat foods now anymore that I don't, unless I like it? I only put foods in my protocol that I absolutely love. If I don't like it, then I don't eat it. And what a better way to eat and live your life than to only eat foods that you like. Seriously, I happen to love salads, but I love certain things in my salad. So if somebody's going to serve me a salad or something was made at dinner that I didn't, I eat what I like. I only put stuff in it that I like. And so that is where we're going to. That is where we're going to get our brain wrapped around food and not the idea of I'm on a diet, I hate this. Put in your protocol foods that you like. There is no reason why you should ever put anything on your protocol, something that you do not like. Has anybody ever done that? Where you put in your protocol, like, I should eat a salad today because I know it's good for me, so I'll put that in my protocol. Anybody? Anybody do that? Because we're so used to the diet mentality and beating ourselves up that's just what we do. And we don't have to do that anymore. We just don't have to. And that is my topic today about food. I would love to know if anybody here has ever had a question about the food protocol, about what we do, even about intermittent fasting, because that has a lot to do with when you eat, right? The times that you eat. Does it work for you? You guys, I absolutely love intermittent fasting. It's one of the best things I've ever done. Michelle says, nope, not anymore. Christine, nope, she doesn't. Cardboard fiber crackers. Thank you. I used to eat those too, thinking I had to because they were so good for me. No, I don't have them in my protocol anymore, ever. Done. Yeah. You know what I used to eat was rice crackers. Am I saying that right? Rice cakes. Oh my goodness. And I would eat those all day long because they were so good for me. I now eat those rice cakes, but I get the chocolate ones and I will put the peanut butter on top of them. My gosh, it's like a fun little dessert. Jody says I still do that. So Jody, what is it that you still do? Is it that you're still putting food onto your protocol that you know is good for you, but you don't like? Is that what you're saying? Or you still put cardboard fiber crackers in your protocol? Oh, yes, I still do that. Okay, so Christina's laughing. Isn't this fun, you guys? That we all can relate to each other because we have done this before. Like we have all been on these crazy diets and crazy protocols that we know we were supposed to do because we know it was so good for our body. And here's what's kind of cool is that once you get your brain wrapped around the food, Life without peanut butter, no. Yes, I 100% agree. Have to have peanut butter. When you get your brain wrapped around the food, the food isn't that important anymore unless you're at a special occasion. But on a day-to-day basis, like I put food in my protocol that I'm like just like I told you about the donut, I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to eat that now. Even though I know it would be yummy and cool, but I got to choose what I put in there and just didn't, I wanted something else. So it's just so fun to be able to be in a place where food is no longer controlling your life anymore. And it takes time. So those of you who are brand new, this is a process that takes months. And there are people who've been on the program that have felt like they didn't do as well as they thought and then stopped and started back again. And you guys, that's okay. That's the process. We go through this process because we've been doing this our entire life. We get on a diet and we get off, get on a diet. And so we need to just stop thinking, I'm not on a diet anymore. There's no more dieting. And if one day you set your protocol and you didn't quite follow your protocol, hopefully you wrote that in your book, okay? Your mood and food journal, which I think I left by my bedstand. I'm always having it with me everywhere I go. You're just going to learn from that day. You look back and go, all right, I didn't stick to my protocol. So what happened when I ate off on that time or whatever? What was going in my brain? What was my emotion? And did you pull out an essential oil to help you? Those of you who haven't used how to use your essential oils, that's lesson 3. But that essential oil helps your brain and your emotions around that. And did you do that? Did you pull that out? Did you write that down? And just go back and learn. Learn what happened. And don't beat yourself up. There is no reason to ever beat yourself up. It's okay to be uncomfortable. I'm finding that I don't think about food as much as I used to because what I'm going to eat has already been decided. Love it. That's the whole point of why you write it down. It's already decided, so you don't have to think so much. Put on a lot of weight during COVID. I want to stop feeling shame about that. I hear you, Jody. I hear you. So let me just share you a little bit of my story about that. I have wanted to put together this program for 2 years. I started working on it 2 years ago. And the lighting is being weird right now. Okay. 2 years ago. And I didn't do it because I thought I needed to lose more weight before I could do that because I wanted to be the perfect weight before I put on an emotional eating program, right? Even though I'd lost 80 pounds, I still wanted to lose more. When COVID happened, like the start of COVID, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I have time to do this now. Like all of the things that I was doing in my life shut down. So I'm going to work on this. All right, yes. And then I started gaining weight. And I'm an emotional eating coach. Like, how does that work? When I'm emotionally eating myself, and here I am gaining weight, and now I'm putting on a program for emotional eaters, oh my gosh. And then the light bulb went off. So Jody, I'm telling you this because I beat myself up so much about that. It's like, how can you possibly do this? You were doing so well for 2 years without emotionally eating, and now here you are packing the weight on emotionally eating. But I realized this was the best time for me to put on this course because I was now back in that mode of exactly what I knew my students would be going through. That emotional eating feeling that I had and that draw to food was so strong. I'm like, now is when I need to do this program. Now is when I will have people going through the process with me and I'll know exactly what they're feeling. Instead of me being up here, I'm done, yay, I'm perfect, I finished this program, let me show you what I did. I can now do this as a person just like you as a human being, completely imperfect, and we do this together. And that motivated me so much. So Jody, find something in this that's going to motivate you. You're a human with a brain. Yes, we're all humans with brains, and we're all doing the best we can trying to figure out this crazy world, right? And food is such a big comfort for all of us. And that comfort, we need to figure out why that's the draw and what's going on in our brain around that comfort and why we're buffering with food. And we don't need to buffer with food. We don't need to. There are so many more joys in life. And that is why I'm doing this program, because I'm right here with you. I'm right there with you. My brain thinks like your brain. And I love that we can do this together. I used to start a diet with a ton of self-loathing. Just can't do that anymore. No, you guys, when you start a brain with self-loathing, you're already hating yourself. You're already going, I hate this. This is not fun. Oh my gosh, look at my body. Whatever it is, my stomach is so big. And what we have got to love ourselves first, just the way we are. I am not at a perfect weight. I was just looking at myself today going, whatever about myself was imperfect. And I'm like, and I still love myself just the way I am. And I can truly and honestly say that about myself. And I had to get to the place where my 260-pound self, I had to love her. I had to love her before I could actually make all those changes. And that is why that journal is so important, you guys. When you get all those thoughts out of your brain and what's going on about the feelings about yourself, feelings about you, your family, and how you think others think about you, that journal is going to be eye-opening. Eye-opening. I was on the keto diet before hit and lost about 40 pounds. When COVID hit, I had to start working from home. Yes, I know that you guys, there's so many hard things about this COVID. So many hard things. Oh, okay. That is my talk. It's not a talk, really. About food. Does anybody have any other questions for me while we're on here today? About maybe specifically you and what you want to put on your food list. Anything that you would like, is this off? Like, I've had some people who question, can I have this or can I have that? Or what was this? Because this is not a thorough list, obviously, but it's a good one to start with. Any other questions you might have about the food list? Maybe about intermittent fasting. Maybe you have questions about intermittent fasting. Creo Brew, which is my absolute favorite. So just so you know, I am not a coffee drinker, but I think the fact that I have friends who drink coffee, I love the smell of coffee. I just did not want the caffeine to go in there and mess with my brain. So when I found Creo Brew that gives you energy, that's a natural energy without caffeine, oh my gosh, the whole world opened to me. I actually have here, every single morning, this is my Creo Brew cup. I just finished drinking it because I have not eaten yet. 12 o'clock is normally when I start eating, or 1 o'clock. I absolutely love it. I don't feel like I'm starving, and it tastes so good. I actually add now a little bit of MCT oil to mine just to make it a little bit creamy. It does add a little bit of calories, but it does not raise my insulin levels, and it is so, so good. Should the dairy always be low fat, or does it matter? Actually, low fat has more sugar in it. Did you know that? And the natural dairy sugar. So I don't always eat the low fat. No. So I get full fat cream, and I just use a tablespoon of it, or full fat, and that keeps you fuller longer. So we want to look at food that's going to be healthy for you. Low fat is not necessarily healthy for you. I'm just going to say that right now. It has less calories, but it doesn't keep you as full, and it has a little bit more sugar in it, just so you know. Yes, you buy Creo Brew online. Creo Brew, just go to creobrew.com, and you can get a starter package there. All kinds of flavors. I do not recommend getting the caramel or the pumpkin or whatever. Get the basic, just the basic flavor. I love the deep roast. There's so many flavors you can get. Christine says, wow, I didn't know. Yeah. So on dairy products, I put cream, butter, cheese, Greek yogurt. I get the full fat ones. If I'm going to eat something, I want to make sure that it tastes really, really good. Now, here's the thing, Christine. If you want to get the low fat, go for it if that's what you like. Again, I choose the full fat because it is healthier for me. I feel like it keeps me fuller longer, and it doesn't have as much as the sugar. Red rose teas are amazing. Oh my gosh, I am addicted to red rose teas. If you guys have not experienced those, the caramel apple red rose tea that has stevia in it, I drink those every night. I have a different flavor every single night. Laura says I add MCT to it and it's delicious. Yes. Okay, so my Creo Brew mix is I add a teaspoon of MCT oil. You guys, that adds about 60 calories, but it does not raise my insulin level. Just a smidgen of salt and a smidgen of stevia. And that's what I drink every single morning. I actually blend it together and it makes about 2 cups. And this is what I drink every single morning. And I never feel hungry. I never feel like my stomach is growling. Every single morning, that's what I have. And I wake up at 5 a.m. 5 a.m., I write in my journal, get things done. At 6 o'clock is when I make the Creo Brew. I make it in a coffee maker. And then I drink that all morning until 12 o'clock and start eating at 12 and have a really good, awesome, healthy 12 o'clock meal and then an awesome 6 o'clock meal. I feel satisfied eating that way. I have never, ever felt like I'm missing out on anything because I include the foods that I love. I don't like low-fat dairy. I'm happy to not get any more. Oh, awesome. Yes. Get the cool foods that you want to eat. Seriously. Jody says, me too. Awesome. All right, guys. I can't wait. Here's your little homework, okay? I want you to go back to look at your protocol. Some of you haven't even set up your protocol. You do that in lesson 2, by the way. You'll learn about it. And I want you to make sure that when you do set up your protocol or your 24-hour plan for the day, put in foods that you like. And now here's the thing. If you're brand new to this and right now you're not eating a lot of healthy foods, remember, you're going to start slowly. Don't go from McDonald's to chicken and broccoli the next day. Put in foods that you like, but put in healthy foods that you like. We're not all about just eating whatever you like. We want healthy foods. Look at the list and decide, of these foods, what do I like? Start at the top. What are the foods that I like? What can I slowly take out from here? Okay? That's where you want to go. That is going to be the secret, is making sure that you're eating foods that you like. Is the Creole Brew better for fasting than the chia seed drink? Okay, the best thing to do during fasting is to have coffee, tea, Creole Brew, or water. That is absolutely the best thing to have. What I recommend for those who are having a hard time when they're starting out with intermittent fasting is that little bit that I put on here. Where is it that I put it on here? The chia seed drink. I'm trying to think exactly what I make it with. Almond milk, a little bit of almond milk, some type of flavoring, and a little bit of chia seed. The reason why that can help you during your first start of intermittent fasting is because it fills you up. Chia seeds, when they get into any type of liquid, will actually grow 3 times their size, so they'll fill up your stomach, but they don't add to your insulin level, and they go straight through your system. They don't add any calories either. Isn't that awesome? Little trick. You can do that at any time, by the way. It doesn't have to be just when you're intermittent fasting. And the almond milk is only about, I believe, 40 calories. And so it will not affect your intermittent fasting to the point of throwing it off, but it's a great way to make your stomach kind of get used to intermittent fasting until you can do it on your own. So I do not use the chia seed drink and almond milk anymore, but those who are brand new might want to try that. So good question, Christine. By the way, my favorite with the Creole Brew is to add a little bit of caramel flavoring. I have a stevia caramel flavor. So I get the almond milk, a little bit of stevia, and I put in the chia seeds, shake it, let it sit for about 10 minutes. Sometimes I'll put it in the fridge. Great little drink that kept me full during my first time that I was starting with intermittent fasting. All right, great questions, you guys, great questions. My hair is going flat. You guys ever like see yourself in the thing and you're like, what happened? Anyway. All right, I think we're done. I think we're good. Thank you all for being on. I love being here, love talking to you all. If you have more questions later on, put them down below. I always come back and I answer them. And you, by the way, ask questions anytime on this page. At any point, I am on here all the time. This page is my priority, so please ask questions at any time. I come on here and I love it. And I will make a lot of what my lives are on Wednesday from what I see happening on the page, the interactions you have with each other, struggles that you're having, questions you have. So make sure that you're interacting on the page so that I know how to address my Wednesday calls. All right, thanks guys. We will see you next Wednesday. Have fun in the course and we will talk to you later. Thanks, bye.